الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وآله وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. رب زدنا علما رب زدنا علما رب زدنا علما وصلى الله عليه وسلم. So we are at the second point. So Allama Iqbal is going through what he called the main characteristics of mystic experience. So we covered the first one quite thoroughly for now anyway. The second point is the unanalyzable wholeness of mystic experience. The second characteristic of mystic experience is that it is a whole, and generally if something is a whole you can analyze them, isn't it? But this is a whole which is unanalyzable. Okay, so whatever it means, it should become clear as we go on. So where did that go? So the dictionary meaning of analysis is detailed examination of of the elements or structure of something. So that something has to be complex if you want to analyze it. In Arabic it's called tahleel. In Urdu I think we more often use tajziya to make it the partification. tajziya, to make it juz. Tahleel is more of a chemistry related connotation there, but tahleel and tajziya are the same diff. And the dictionary meaning of wholeness, one and that's from Collins Dictionary, I think. The quality of being complete. Okay, so I don't think he is meaning that in here, or a single unit. So that can be, and not broken or divided into parts. So a lot of our experience is whole. You only on reflection or retrospection we analyze that experience. But that's when we talk about at the conscious level. At the subconscious level, what is happening, God knows. I mean, psychology and physiology deals with it, but there's a lot of parts coming in and becoming whole, and then going their way, etc. So the formation and deformation, a lot of things are going at the subconscious level. But at the conscious level, a lot of our experience is holistic, as phenomenologists have emphasized, for example, Ponty and other people. Even Heidegger and Habermas as well. I mean, he's not a phenomenologist as such, but he has been influenced by phenomenologists. Okay, let's go back to the text. Okay, the second point is the unanalyzable wholeness of mystic experience. When I experience the table before me, innumerable data of experience merge into the single experience of the table. Just quantifying that data. So that's now he's talking about at subconscious level, because my experience of table at the conscious level is holistic. So experience merge into the single experience of table. So anyway, when I experienced table before me, innumerable data of experience merge into the single experience of the table. Out of this wealth of data or data, I select. So you don't select. It's all happening at the sub ego level, so to speak. Those that fall into a certain order of space and time, and so I select. So this is doesn't seem a very correct analysis, but anyway, I select those that fall into a certain order of space or them, and round them off in reference to the table. There is a selection going on, but selection is at the subconscious level. I mean, if you want to talk about I select, that would be a metaphorical use of I select rather than a literal use of the word. Okay, so in the mystic state, I mean, in tasawwuf we will call it hal, but obviously mysticism is not tasawwuf, even if they have similarity. However vivid and rich it may be, mystic state, thought is reduced to a minimum. I mean, obviously what he means here is conscious thought is reduced to minimum, because something is bombarding on you and your passivity increase even more than what you have in normal experience. And such an analysis is not possible. Such an analysis is not possible. I think he is referring to the analysis he just did regarding the table. But even when you are looking at the table, that analysis is not possible. There's a lot of passivity, passive reception, and whatever analysis going on, that is at the subconscious level. But this difference of mystic state from the ordinary rational consciousness, I mean, rational consciousness, by rational consciousness he means just the ordinary experience of table, for it does not mean discontinuance with the normal consciousness. Who knows what is normal consciousness? I mean, there's a lot of abnormal and normal consciousness, meaning a lot of extraordinary we don't know. And when you study psychology, physiology, neurology, philosophy, what you call cognitive sciences, you realize how rich and complex those experiences are. And even in Iqbal times, a lot of that was known, but obviously lot of other stuff wasn't known. So that's why we have to update our understanding always. Does not mean discontinuance. Well, what it need to define what discontinuance. I mean, normal and extraordinary are intermingled, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a break between what we call ordinary and extraordinary. And I would say there are shades of, or there are levels of ordinary, and there are levels of extraordinary. So at certain point, Uh, so if we try to imagine, and it's a very, very inadequate um, imagery or comparison. So there is shades of ordinary. So this is ordinary, or range, I would say, and then extraordinaries. So there is certain intermingling, but if here and here, there's a huge gulf. So I think it's fair to say, even at this generic level, that ordinary and extraordinary, they have continuities but also discontinuities, and there are levels at which discontinuity become gulf or huge, and we can never breach that gulf. And there are certain moments when the glimpses come from those shores, but that's it. As Professor William James thought, Professor William James, we need to read a bit about William James, because he was famous at the time Allama Iqbal was writing. If I'm not mistaken, he was in England as well. He delivers his lectures in England. So I don't know. Yeah. So William James was born in 1842. He's an American philosopher and psychologist, and considered founder of or co-founder of with Peirce. Obviously, he was influenced by Peirce, but he also interpreted Peirce's. Obviously, he was never a profound philosopher like Peirce. So he is one of those disciples who pick and choose from their master and then popularize them and become more famous than their master. But anyway, he is the founder of a movement in philosophy called pragmatism. And psychology, he is the founder of what is called functionalism, or certain sort of functionalism. He died in 1910. So he's quite a bit older than Allama Iqbal's, but obviously their era also overlap. And he's the brother of a novelist, a very cryptic sort of novelist, Henry James. I mean, they still teach some of his stuff in schools. And I think William James's book, Varieties of Religious Experience. I think it's called the Varieties. Religious experience. So that's it, based on his Gifford lectures. That's a famous book, and Allama Iqbal had a considerable influence on him of this book. And these are Gifford lectures which William James delivered in 1902. So that's so far for William James, but we should, do a few separate sessions on him, so we should have a good grip on what William James said in his books and things, because that's important for understanding some of the Iqbal's stuff in at least first 2 chapters. Okay. Anyway, In either case, it is the reality which is operating on us. Reality which is in either case. Okay, that's so. In one case, there is a ordinary reality. In another case, it's the transcendent reality, so to speak. Unless it is just a psychological experience and reflection of our own consciousness, subconsciousness, and etc. The ordinary rational consciousness and ordinary experience in view of our practical need to swim around to deal with things, to live our lives in view of our needs, practical need adaptation to our environment, not just adaptation. I mean, it depends on how you view your relationship with your environment. So one is you're being in the world, you're already there, so you are anchored in your environment. On the other hand, you see yourself and your environment as separate, so then you have to adapt to that environment on a conscious level. And I think our lives are a combination of those, because we live simultaneously at the subconscious level, conscious level, and reflective level. So these at least 3 levels. Anyway, so in view of our practical need, adaptation to our environment takes the reality piecemeal. Really? Yeah, at the conscious level, I guess. But as I said, the subconscious level, a lot of it is not piecemeal, it is holistic, selecting successively isolated set of stimuli for response. Yes, but a lot of this selection is happening at the subconscious level, and the fact that we can actually do this selection at the conscious level depends on the fact that we do it on the subconscious level. But obviously we would have to read a lot of up-to-date stuff on biology, physiology, psychology to be precise on this point, and I hope somebody will do that. Some of us will do that. The mystic state brings us, because one of the purpose of reading this is to at least inspire myself and others to do some original research. This mystic state brings us into contact with the total passage of reality. But that total passage of reality is obviously a partial reality in which all diversity will merge into one another and form a single unanalyzable unity. But that's the case with our ordinary experience as well, which the ordinary existence substance doesn't exist. That doesn't exist even at a subconscious level, a lot of our experiences. That can't be the defining characteristic of the mystic experience. You can say that, at the mystic level it's more powerful or more, but that's just the just the difference in what you call it, difference in intensity, and not different in kind, etc. Okay, I think we have covered the second point, and we'll go on to the third point next time, inshallah.